As we know, many American women are in the Persian Gulf, near to, if not yet, in the war, although one woman soldier may have been captured by the Iraqis. About 6% of the American troops over there are women. In Israel, 40% of the army are women. Nothing new in that, really. Women have always played a role in that country's wars. How big a role is that? How close to combat does the Israeli woman soldier go? Well, there are some misconceptions about that, and so we've asked NBC's Martin Fletcher to look into what Israel's women soldiers contribute to that nation's defense.
The Merkava tank is Israel's best, manned by Israel's finest. Meet the gunner.
You have to learn and you have to be good at what you're. So I'm good. I do it.
A sergeant's a sergeant, whatever the gender or the army. Hold that rifle at 60 degrees, she shouts. Louder, I can't hear you. You can see women do anything in the Israeli army except one thing. Fight for real, no combat for women. The best women soldiers who choose the army as a career are training officers, not combat troops. Here, Jews from 6 countries who have immigrated to Israel are taught to be Israeli men by Israeli women. The Israeli army's doctrine, the more women training, the more men in combat.
They learn very fast who I am and who's the boss.
Zaki Rubenstein is a platoon commander.
During the basic training, sometimes I would notice that they kind of forget that I'm a girl at all. I mean, they see me as one of their fellow commanders, and even the commanders between themselves see me as one of the guys.
These are new recruits fresh from high school. They're beginning 2 years compulsory service. Tiny Israel, 3.5 million Jews surrounded by 100 million hostile Arabs at war for 43 years. Everyone has to serve, like it or not. It isn't easy. In fact, for many, it's like torture. This girl's suffering from heat exhaustion. From birth, each Israeli girl knows this is her future.
And I can speak for most of the girls in Israel. They want to go into the army, and it's a way of life here. There is no question, should I go to the army or shouldn't I? No one is doing a favor to the country. But we are the country, and we're doing things for ourselves, and that is the way of life.
I can use my Uzi. I can shoot with it. I can help. I can give first aid better. I can use my kit here. It's my gas mask and everything. I know what to do in case we have biological weapons or chemical. I don't know. I think I've learned a lot.
9 seconds to prepare for chemical war. Yet, for all their training, all their determination, Israeli women are kept far from the battlefield, not because they don't make good fighters. 3 reasons, says the army. Religious groups wouldn't like it, there are enough men, and Israel's frightened what Arab armies would do to female prisoners of war. So, Israel, in its 5 wars, has never had a woman soldier killed or captured, and only a handful have been wounded.
People know in this country that to be a prisoner of war in the hands of our neighbors, it's not such a good thing. Much better to be dead.
Nativa Ben Yehuda is from a different generation, one of Israel's founding mothers. Before Israel was a state, she did fight on the front lines for 7 months. She spoke with producer Ron Bond.
It changes your life. You are never the same person.
Nativa fought against Syrians in Israel's war of independence, a war of survival against 6 Arab armies. When women fought, were captured and died alongside men.
A whole squad was captured by the Arabs, and half of the squad stayed in their hands and were all killed and mutilated. And when the real people, the government people in Tel Aviv, heard about the way she was mutilated, they decided on the spot to take out all the women from the front line.
But when the women were pulled out, the Jews found themselves with too few fighters against the massed Arab armies. So women like Nativa had to go back into the line, into the horrible risk of Middle Eastern war.
We used to say that I'll kill myself and not be a prisoner of war. It's talking, of course it's talking. I don't know if I would have done it.
Finally, having won its battle to exist, Israel set the rules it still lives with today. No women in combat, no risk of death or capture. But should women be allowed to fight? Teenage draftees don't all agree.
I like it the way it is. I think it's better that men go into combat roles and that women stay in the back but help the men, you know? But still, they stay in the back and they can still raise their kids or do other things.
I know that if I were given a combat position, I would do it with all my heart.
The last word on women in combat from one of the last women who fought and killed for Israel, Nativa Ben Yehuda.
I always read about people who, before death, all their life passed through their mind, like a movie. And I'm telling you, it's also before you kill. There is a second, even less than a second, I think, that you see all the, I don't know, all the what, all the life of the person who is going to be killed by you. You see him differently. You see his life. You think about his home, his children, his wife. You see everything.
For Sunday Today, this is Martin Fletcher, NBC News in Israel.
The articulate testimony of many women who have lived under the stress of war or the threat of war for so many years there in Israel. Mary Alice.
And when we return, we're going to be talking about stress and anxiety, about